game up against Mousesports on Cash. They did end up losing due to some poor decisions when it came to their economy, but when it came to the shots they were actually hitting, they did incredibly well, and they were able to make it a comeback in the third game. So they weren't really riled up too much by that. We'll have to wait to see whether or not they can redeem themselves. They will definitely be playing much more carefully up against G2, and they will be choosing to make their buys much more conservatively in this particular series. Mousesports, of course, a team that they could have thought that isn't really quite up to their mark, was able to take a map away from them, but G2 is definitely a whole other beast. So starting things off, we're going to be having Crims to have a defuse kit and an HE grenade to be able to go for that retake situation that they have been faced with. Interestingly enough, Crims has actually been going for this very consistently, where he goes for the HE instead of the double flash. Apex himself, again, going for the P250 plus flash plus smoke. He will be looking to line a smoke up towards that A site perhaps and get an entry or so, but it would be very detrimental towards him if he's not able to do so while the bomb is nearby. They have, of course, left the bomb back over towards that T spawn. Just getting some information to see just in case Fnatic has gone for a bit of a stack, and right now they have actually stacked up 2 players towards that middle side. Interesting decision that is being made right now. Fnatic is one of those teams that really like to prioritize getting that mid control, and that's exactly what they're doing right now on the CT side. Will they be doing something similar on the T side for G2 though later on in their rifle round? It's definitely very possible, especially if you are running a multiple AWP setup. That is one of those places where you can get the very quick double peek through and almost always win a 2-on-1 AWP duel. Smoke does go through now, and along with the flashbang, they should be making their way in. There's no one over towards that forklift area. The grenade won't do too much damage. Apex does get brought down to 81 HP. He's still got the flashbang though, and he's playing this incredibly well. So the bomb does go down, and he hasn't thrown out the flash yet. This is where suddenly, if he can coordinate this well with Shoxy, then Shox might be able to get quite a few shots in with that Glock of his. And now the flashbang goes out, but unfortunately Shox isn't really able to capitalize. Body and Apex, so they pull through. Crims and Olaf immediately hitting right back, but Shox now holding that angle, will be able to get a few. 2-on-2, Flusha and Crims going up against NBK and Kenny. Crims will be able to get one, and again it's still down to a 1v1. The wire is thin and it will be cut very soon. Crims will be able to get that one through. The defuse kit really saving it for them over there. G2's moment of hesitation is a bit too long as Kenny is able to get the kill, but unfortunately does not get the round. 1-0 for the side of Fnatic going up against G2. Now the question is, do G2 force up right now? And with the bomb being planted again, I think that it is very unlikely that they do end up doing so. However, they need to be sure that they avoid what happened in Train, where Fnatic won the first round, they won the second round, and then when G2 pulled out the AKs, they just didn't have any utility whatsoever to speak of. So right now they are going for a bit of a quasi-buy. They're buying up a few things, the Deagle, and actually an AK coming out as well onto NBK, surprisingly enough. And we're going to have to wait and see exactly where he is going to be looking to go with this one. He does get boosted up, so the world is his oyster right now. They're going for that mid control that I talked about. The G2, once they do get those rifles up, they will want to go for the mid control. Flusha, however, spotting over towards White Box. Sugar Cube will be able to see quite a few people over there. Kenny, yes, with the Deagle shots coming through, can't quite connect with them, unfortunately. And Apex P250 in hand. Again, he's going for those shots in long range, but it's very difficult to be able to actually connect. Kenny with the Deagle has much more likelihood of being able to do so. They're angling their way towards that B side, but that's where you've got Olaf and Dennis. The 4 SMG play from Fnatic is absolutely brilliant. They do think that G2 will almost definitely be going for a save, considering that they did also do the same in Train before going for a buy in the third round. However, G2's Scout plus AK combination might catch them off guard. We'll have to wait to see exactly that's exactly what happens right now. NBK is able to bring down Crims. Body gets another one onto JW, who was boosted up. Flusha with the SMG long range is able to get a few kills. 2 goes down, and he manages to stay alive as well. There's no Molotov to be able to flush him out of position, but you don't need that, as Kenny is able to get a Deagle shot through. One player has crossed that truck side. That's going to be Dennis. Olaf coming up highway. We'll be seeing if he can flash Dennis through, maybe get that kill onto Shox, who does have that scout, but Shox immediately crashing behind Forklift. Olaf with that incendiary will need to back himself off. Realizes that these angles are a bit too hard for him to be able to actually take, backs himself off. Is going to be seeing if he can get away with that kit, armor, and UMP. Definitely quite a heavy investment to be able to take into the next round. Now, G2 have equalized the score 1-1, and they've managed to get up quite a few rifles for themselves as well. Fnatic are more likely than not going to actually end up challenging this. Of course, they could go for the eco round if they do want to give G2 some more respect than they did towards the squad of Mousesports. They might be having flashbacks right now to their poor economic management back then. Flusher 2650 on him, so nothing else could see a CZ in his hand, so that's not going to be the case at all. They're going for practically the full buy. JW, even JW, who is the AWPer, is going to be going for that. They've got 2 deagles, 3 UMPs, and although they have a chance of taking this round away with the 4 rifles on the G2 squadron, it's definitely going to be reliant on Crims and Dennis hitting those shots with the deagle. Dennis is holding that headshot angle towards that B site. The incendiary will be cancelled out by the smoke, so that angle will be a little bit harder for him to be able to capitalize off the back of. Apex towards Squeaky will be able to see Crims if he jumps up, and that's exactly what he does. Onto the red box he goes, and Crims has got to be feeling a little bit scared. He's trying to go for the scout through, but unfortunately Crims doesn't quite reveal his position, and Apex can't go for the very quick little headshot. JW, UMP in hand, is waiting for the push through to come in. He gets some decent damage done, but Apex is able to bring him down regardless. Crims, though, with a deagle shot, gets bodied down, and one through the door as well. Very nicely done. They've got a chance in this round. NBK is going forward with the AK. He's able to bring them down as well. Dennis with the deagle once again. He brings it to a 2 versus 2. Shocks going from the side of Forklift. Will be able to find the head of Olaf. Dennis has got a chance over here. He does have the shot through with the deagle. He's been able to line it up. They're both in one-shot territory for each other right now. Dennis perhaps a little bit less so, but the deagle does massive damage to the chest, even through that Kevlar. And with the bomb being dropped, oh goodness, this is Dennis's round to win for the Fnatic squadron. He's holding a very tight corner. He sees the shoulder. NBK going for the peak. Will be able to go over towards the bomb safely enough and grab that, but the damage is not done yet. Dennis wins it for his round. Wins it for his round. Wins it for his team. Wins it for his team. Very well played by them. Crims getting that very key frag early on to open things up. Definitely changing quite a lot of things. And even just the extra damage that he was able to do. Fnatic playing the trade game absolutely brilliantly. G2 now, they've got enough money to be able to go for a bit of a weak buy up against the buy of Fnatic. JW keeps some money in the bank. They really are expecting... No, doesn't actually keep any money in the bank whatsoever, but doesn't buy up an extra flash either. So perhaps not expecting the utility to be as required, as so far it does seem to be having more of a pure aim battle more than anything else. Dennis throwing out the HE grenade, M4 in hand as well, and we'll be waiting to see if someone pushes in. Apex, squeaky door can be open, and Crims unfortunately is not going to be in a prime position to be able to spot that. And no one over towards Forklift, and I find that interesting that Fnatic isn't really recognizing that Apex is very consistently coming over from the squeaky door side, which is why next round we might see their positioning a little bit changed up. I know Olaf likes to play that Forklift side with that UMP, so we could maybe see that coming through. Now JW is letting someone go for a boost that is going to be rather Dennis, I believe. Apex, the incendiary will block off his path forward. He doesn't quite want to use a smoke for that just quite yet. They want to have a smoke to go forward. Shocks is showing a few of those one-taps that Scream was famous for. Kenny S and Apex both chiming in as well. Apex getting a third, well, getting a second, but a fourth for his team. Body finishes the round off with a nice one. Full headshot round coming out from all of G2. Makes you miss Scream just a little bit. 2-2 the scoreline though. Now Fnatic will finally be in an equal situation. G2 are in prime position to be able to start building up that bank as well. Kenny's been doing a good job on his with just an AK, so we don't really see any reason for him to switch over towards the AWP until after he's actually died, or another player has who needs the AK to be thrown over towards him. Flash up with the CZ is flashed up, almost gets a shot despite the flash, but unfortunately just isn't enough. JW dodges the one of his own, deagle in hand, he's pushing forward, and Fnatic, I said they'd be going for an eco round, but instead they want to force it up immediately, and Shocks is holding that angle, but will it matter as he takes quite a bit of damage? JW with the armor is able to trade hits despite the aim punch, because of the aim punch not really being a factor. NBK now is able to spray down all of Match finally, who isn't successful with that pistol rush, with that wide peak. Body doing the same towards Crims, and well done by the G2 squadron so far. They've been able to hold these angles. They've been able to minimize the damage. But as I say that, JW takes down Apex and could maybe, just maybe, push forward to be able to get up that gun. But Dennis, he is the man to look out for. over towards that headshot area. If they start going in towards that B side, this could be very troublesome, and instead it does look like the cluster is going to be moving forward to that A side. Shox over in A main, just making sure that all these corners are cleared out. They might have realized that Dennis likes to play that headshot area by now, and the amount of pressure they put down towards that B side does mean that Fnatic was forced to stick around. JW also in that B area. Dennis, it's all up to him right now with the Deagle in hand. He gets one. Can he get the second? No, he can't. The flick just isn't quick enough. JW now. Does he save his armor? Does he save the AK that's probably on the ground over here? Unless they've thrown it away. Or, does look like they've thrown it up on towards that red box. G2 Esports doing a good job of not letting any gun slide into the hands of Fnatic. Shox, AK in hand, is waiting to see whether or not JW reveals himself. It would not be surprising in the slightest, but JW has got his hands on an M4, and that will be what he's saving towards the next round. That might be something that Fnatic actually used to go for a force buy off the back of. If they're willing to go for a force buy when their money is down to 1500, then I would not be surprised in the slightest if they use that M4 in the hands of JW to do the same. And the best thing about that is that with Fnatic, you really can't count them out at any given point. Even if they're going for a ridiculous force buy, Fnatic definitely still have that in them to be able to take the game. That's what this old roster brings back to us. That the newer Fnatic did seem to be sorely missing. That very large surprise oomph power, just with the massive individual skill levels. We saw Dennis hitting some crazy shots. Even in the previous round, almost able to get that flick up, and that would have really changed things up. That would have allowed JW to potentially go for that clutch. Body, starting things up, gets a very quick kill onto Flusher though. And now they are going for that eco. Body gets another one onto Olaf Meister. So far he's done a great job of being able to open up. Body was said to be the replacement for Scream. He was supposed to do his extreme job, and that's exactly what he's doing. Getting those one taps all around. Dennis, last man standing. Once again, the Deagle is his best friend right now. His only friend. The rest of them are, of course, scattered across the field as G2 Esports, and one shot couldn't come through. Nicely done. Dennis gets the time to line that up, and Kenny S doesn't really need to line up too much with that AWP. Gets a nice little body shot to bring him down. 4-2 the scoreline for G2 Esports. Lots of money is being accumulated in their hands, so if Fnatic do actually end up beating them, they will have more than enough to be able to completely, fully buy up, and that's where Fnatic can actually be reset. That's where Fnatic can be facing down what's potentially a 7-3. So right now, Fnatic, they need to win at least 2 rounds in a row to be able to make sure that they have some semblance of money saved up. Right now, though, with their weak economy, they're not really able to buy too much utility. No Molotovs coming out on them at all, and that can be so incredibly useful in flushing out anyone hiding in a quad position for those post-retake situations. Body nicely done through the smoke, gets a shot onto Olaf, very commonly held spot, realizes that, and now Flusher, he's trying to spray through the smoke, will not be able to do so. And now he's actually going to be backing himself off towards that truck side. G2 is in a great position considering that they have all 5 players. Oh god. Pardon me. That they have all 5 players alive, and with a minute left on the clock, they can actually really make Fnatic start to second guess themselves. And that's exactly why Fnatic is clustering all around that mid location. Shox is jumping across, seeing what he can get done, but unfortunately, with the squeaky door not being open, he can't really get too much information. The noise that he is making, however, would be drawing Fnatic forward to maybe throw out some utility, but Shox's nice little headshot onto JW does make sure that he does go down immediately. 5 versus 3 going into this side. It turned into a 5 versus 2. Crims goes down to the AWP of Kenny S. And Fnatic, they're looking to be facing a 2-5 deficit the way they're going right now. Saving their M4s over towards that CT spawn. Will G2 allow them to actually save though? They've got a lot of money. They might be able to push forward with a few players. Apex doesn't quite want to go in alone though. So it'll be a very hard kill for him to be able to get, considering he's going up against someone who is peeking. Of course, the flashbang going through. Rasha is peeking in. He will be able to scout him out. Dennis will be flashed up almost entirely. They get one on the Fnatic side, but they won't be able to get any more. G2 doing a good job of being able to deplete any semblance of economy over towards the Fnatic side. They would have been able to go for a semi-decent force buy on the Fnatic squadron should they have saved up over there. Dennis would have been able to throw an M4 on towards his teammates as well. Get a few rifles up, get a few UMPs up, definitely make it possible for Fnatic to be able to win this. Now though, Body with that SMG is looking to make some money. Apex boosting up a few players, and they will just be going down towards that mid side. Body gets a quick one onto Flusha, and now same old routine from Body, always going in towards the vents area after getting one in that mid side. See, seems to be a very consistent strat that they're running. Bring down towards the smoke as well. Kenny gets one onto JW. Nothing too surprising over there. These are just the eco frags coming through. Get some money up for themselves. Body's definitely doing that right now. Kenny gets a second one. And he's doing very well so far. Crim's almost getting the shot. Lands. It does line it up, but unfortunately, a bit of a wall bang does stop the headshot from really connecting. But Kenny is definitely doing a good job of staying alive. That's a big thing I want to point out. 7-3. He's been able to stay alive for 5 out of these 8 rounds. When you're the main AWP player, that's where you know you're doing things right. That's where you know you're able to really build up back, and you can see that he's well over that 5-digit territory. He's $14,000 on him. 3 of them are 5 digits, and the other 2 are well over 8. This is looking very troubling for the side of Fnatic. That's why they decide to pull out the big guns. They're going for the double off setup. They will get one. Olaf picks apart Kenny, and that does mean JW. It's all on him. Will he be able to get something over towards that A site? 3 M4s are stationed in towards that middle area. That's what a double off setup does, essentially. You station 1 AWP over towards each side, 3 M4s in that mid side, and you try to just keep control all across the map. If they try to go for a quick push, that's where the op can get 1, maybe even 2 pickoffs, and then you go. That's exactly what's happening over there. They go for a quick push. JW gets 1 pickoff, could maybe get the second right now. Dennis will be the one to connect on the Body though. JW lines up the second one, will not be able to connect until a second shot comes through though, and that's what I'm talking about. If you're able to isolate a few players with the AWP, those are a few very easy shots that come through. Dennis is able to kill shots at the end of the day. 6-3 Fnatic get themselves back on the board. G2. Still though, their money is ridiculously high, and Fnatic though are building up a little bit of back from that previous round as well. They did keep alive most of their players. Actually all of their players, considering they all have AKs and the double off setup still being prevalent. But now G2 knows that that double off setup is still there. That's why they're going to be a little bit more careful, throw out a few more flashes, and now Body with the SMG is looking to really get up close and personal with JW, who is in almost the exact same spot behind Quad. That's 1 shot through, can't quite connect. The Body will be able to bring him down. That SMG coming into play. Body picking up that AWP immediately after, gets a shot onto Crims as well. Flusha from long range, he's able to spray down NBK through the smoke, but now it's a 3 versus 4. Fnatic can try to retake this. Apex going for a few shots through the hair's breadth that he has available towards him. Unfortunately, won't matter all too much. The flashbang goes out just to delay Flusha just a little while longer. The Fnatic squadron are perhaps going through from the backside as well. Olaf unscopes at the wrong time, and Apex is able to bring him down. Now 2 versus 4. This might be another one of those save it situations. 6-3. Fnatic don't want to get reset right now. I said their money is looking up, but they still would really like to be able to get away with a few ops, maybe even maybe an AK or 2. Sasha picks up that AWP, backing himself off, and will he be able to save it though is the question. Dennis will be looking to allow just that to happen as he brings down Apex. G2 Esports 7-3. They've managed to get themselves back on the board, but with the AWP saved up, Fnatic should have a very good buy going for themselves. A full buy, 4 rifles, and perhaps 1 UMP might come through, but I'm not entirely sure about that either. Crims could, well, definitely no. They've actually maintained the double op setup, with JW being forced to go for very minimalistic utility though. Now Apex being boosted up, will be counter boosted. Olaf hits that shot once again. That's Body who's going in for the peak. He was a secondary op, for once not Shocks. Surprising to see that coming through. Maybe it's more of a map preference, maybe it's more of a confidence play. But now those 2 AWPs have managed to open up the site for the side of Fnatic. And Body is of course top fragging right now, probably a confidence play coming in, that Shocks isn't the one on the AWP. Now Kenny goes for the shot and connects it onto JW. JW with a crouch peek into Kenny's arms is very difficult for him to be able to pull off. And Kenny now with the gap in the smoke, we know how infamous he is for those hairs, oh never mind, for those hair's breadth reaction timings. If he's able to utilize that smoke, I would not be surprised at all. But right now Shocks is surprising Crims as he takes him down immediately. 2 versus 3 now, Olaf and Flusha. Can they do it? Kenny S throws out a flashbang. They will be able to take control of the site very easily. Flusha over towards that truck's position. And Olaf pushing through. with that AWP. And you find out Shox will go for the peak. Unfortunately, can't quite make it happen. NBK goes down, and now Olaf knows the position as well. Oh my goodness. Olaf almost getting the shot that Austin got on them. Now he throws out the smoke. Will miss the shot again, but the smoke will allow him to maybe proceed forward just a little bit. But Shox and Kenny, as they're both playing this very smartly, they're not peeking it. They're not giving him the opportunity. Now Kenny, he might change his mind though. And Olaf backs himself off, saving the AWP, and now Fnatic. This seems like a complete opposite of what happened in Train. G2 got steamrolled back then, and now they look to be bringing it back. The second map looks to be entirely in their control. What can Fnatic do to at least win the first half, or bring themselves back, claw their way up? Right now might be time for an eco round. Crims has got 4100. You can see them thinking about that force buy. You know they want to. But fortunately or unfortunately, they will actually end up going for it. 2 M4s, a UMP, and 3 M4s, 2 M4s, a UMP, and a CZ on JW. It's not a bad buy, but it's not really anything that you can write home about either. G2 are going to be having a bit of an easy time this round unless Fnatic pull out some godly aim battles and they're able to win a few with some very interesting off angles. As long as G2 keep checking all their angles, keep hitting their shots, they shouldn't actually go down to this. Olaf though, he is the big X factor with that AWP pushing forward, almost gets a shot. That's the first time he hasn't connected over towards that B site. And backing himself off immediately. JW though, he will connect. He's got that CZ to be able to do so. Crims with the M4 does end up going down. Dennis in mid side picks up a kill, switches out his UMP for that AK, and now suddenly things are looking up for them. They're in a 4 vs 3 body through the smoke. He's able to get one down, and now JW from Squeaky Door, he's got an AK picked up. He will be able to finish everyone off. NBK's fire will burn Kenny to death. 8-4 Fnatic get their double op setup back, and G2 now, this is where things look tricky. If Fnatic are able to get 2 more rounds, then G2 will not really, I'm not sure if they'll have the money to be able to actually buy up. It looks like it is likely considering that Body sitting on 11,000. He's had an absolute monstrous performance so far, 15, 0 and 7, and so many of those kills were with an SMG, so his money is looking even better. Apex, that flashbang will be heard but not seen. Flusher also with the M4 is potentially looking towards what could be a mid boost coming out of the T side. They are playing this somewhat differently this time around though. Dennis is over towards that headshot area. He's got the AK in hand, and although nicely done by Crims, he's able to open things up for the Fnatic squadron. They're able to drop the bomb as well, and now Crims is still going for this. He might be able to get one more, but Flusher is the man to actually bring down NBK. Last man left alive is Kenny S against 5. And with Fnatic staying alive with this many players, this could be big. JW could be wallbanged over here. If Kenny S wants to go for it though, JW goes for the peak, will be able to successfully do it. And a 5-8, the scoreline is looking even better for Fnatic now. It is almost certainly going to be a somewhat weak buy coming out of G2 if they end up winning this round. The expenditure that has gone into this is massive, and NBK doesn't really have too much of bank left. Neither does Apex for that matter. Body, despite his earlier rolls of cash, does look weak too after buying up for his teammates, but this round has to go the way of Fnatic for them to be able to have a hope of bringing it back to 8-7. Their own money is looking fairly solid as well on the Fnatic squadron, having been able to keep so many of their players alive in the past few rounds. Apex with the AK in hand is waiting for a potential counter boost to come through. He's lining up a smoke now, and Shox will be pushing forward with a flashbang. AK in hand, gets a flashbang successfully, but immediately JW is able to back himself off. That AWP will come into play, goes in for one shot, goes for the repick, will not be able to hit it, will not be able to wallbang it either. Now Crims, he got the grenade, he's throwing it over, expecting the rush to come through from the G2 side. Shox now going for the reload, perhaps a little bit dangerous, but gets a wallbang onto JW. Knows where he is. Walls have eyes, and Shox is shooting them because Flusher is the one backing himself off right now. Gets a shot onto his body, another one onto Apex. Only had 5 ammo left, but that's all he needs. Shox now pushing forward. Flusher's got 1 HP and a Dream. NBK from the other side though is looking to shut that Dream off. Walking up highway, looking to see what he can get done over here. 30 seconds left on the clock. They're winding this down. G2 are making this hard. He sees the gun barrel, brings him down with a quick headshot. And now it's down to a 3 vs 2. Crims though in a great position to be able to shut this down entirely. NBK will scout him out, but Crims with the knife out is too fast. for him to take down Kenny S. Scoping in towards that quad area. Crims will potentially look to push towards the other side, but NBK is waiting for him, and Dennis is wanting to back up his teammate. Now in a 1v1 against Kenny S, no less. Nicely done though, Dennis with the flick while Kenny was going for the scope. 6 to 8 Fnatic are in good position to be able to take it to that 8-7 scoreline. Body and Apex, both their money is looking weak, but if their teammates are going to be able to buy up for them, then they should be able to have all the utility in the world regardless. Tech9 on Apex and Body, looks like it. Body actually has enough money for... Okay, doesn't actually have enough money for an AK, never mind. So they're pushing forward, and things are looking rough for the side of Fnatic right now because they need to win this round. If they do actually end up losing this one, and the pressure is definitely on them, if they do end up losing this one, G2 definitely has some incredibly good pistol players. Shox is legendary. Dennis, while normally is definitely one of the best pistol players in the world. Olaf gets a nice little opening shot onto NBK, but we can talk about that later on. Shox right now is going for the shot into the smoke. Flusher almost walks into those tracers, but thankfully for him, he would be able to get away to safety after taking one shot to the chest. Olaf goes for the peek, actually is able to get the tag through the wall. Kenny is down to 21. Olaf though successfully backs himself off. Will he be able to go for another shot? He's actually backing himself all the way to the back of the B-bomb side where Dennis will be his bodyguard. JW jumps up, gets a shot onto Shox. Beautiful movement coming out there from him. And now Body and Apex. Two players who need to do something over towards the B-bomb side will actually end up going down. Kenny S gets a quick one onto Flusher. Olaf is still on that side. Dennis sees the man coming through. He sees the grenade as well. Sees the head of Kenny, but can't quite take it down until later on. 8-7 the scoreline for Fnatic. They will save their hopes in this map. We'll be right back to find out whether or not they can save the entire one. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, G2 Esports versus Fnatic, 8-7 the scoreline, and this is such an exciting pistol round to be going into. As I was saying earlier, Dennis is definitely one of the best pistol players in the world, no doubt. He goes for the deagle, that's definitely one of the marks of the greats. However, Shoxy is on the other side, and Shox has been hitting much more shots than Dennis has been in this entire today. Of course, Dennis has been stepping it up a little bit in this series up against G2, so maybe we do see something coming out from him as he does spot out Shox, gets the first tag through, but is it going to be enough? Crims with that Glock will be able to very quickly flick onto the head of Body. Headshot area is being played up as well. Shox nicely done. Those very patient taps as Kenny is able to take down Olaf as well. Shox again will be able to find out one more. That is going to be Dennis going down. Flusher all the way towards that A site. Is going to be able to find out one or two perhaps, but they're hunting him down. They want that money, and Kenny S with the deagle on his hands and along with the armor is feeling like a rich man. Fnatic was able to sneak a Flusher over towards that other side, but let's see if Flusher can actually get anything done with that bomb run. They will get that extra money, but will they be able to get anything else? I do like this approach coming up from Fnatic though, where Flusher is able to get the bomb plant over towards the other side. I'm guessing what their logic is that they send 4 people in, and if they end up losing out those duels, if they end up losing out a few players, then at least Flusher will be able to go for the bomb plant in to the other side. If they end up getting a few pickoffs, if they can get side control, that's great, that's fine. Flusher can backtrack, can bring the bomb back and actually plant it down towards that B side. Whether or not that actually ends up being successful is an entirely different story, but at least this way they've got some money to work with. And they will actually end up saving up so that they can force buy up the next round. Flusher does have a deagle of his own, and right now they're doing some decent damage onto the CTs, but unfortunately that doesn't really account to all too much when the SMGs are pushing through onto you. Dennis goes down along with a few points of damage being dealt on towards Flusher, but at the end of the day they're able to get Shox down. JW soon to follow. Crims is going forward with the UMP. He's got one more for himself. Suddenly 3 on 2. Fnatic can do this. 7 versus 9. 2 HP on Body as well. All that he needs is a whisper to the air, and Crims is more than happy to provide it. NBK getting a few shots as well from JW. Now it's a 1v1. Crims has got no armor, but NBK has got no life. The grenade might end up doing it. Yes, it does. The Kobe wins the round. 9-8 Fnatic. They're able to bring it back. Crims is nodding away in happiness. But beautifully done right now. G2 Esports, they're down. They have been ecoed. And Fnatic, who are already looking good for the money, will end up going for 4 AKs and an SMG on Flusher. Very well played. Lots of utility as well. They're playing it safe now, Fnatic. They do want to be able to take this series clean 2-0 and go towards that winner bracket final. Towards being definitely top 4, and top 3 is all you need to qualify for IEM Katowice. G2 on the other hand on the verge of being knocked down. What will they do to react? This should be a free round going the way of Fnatic. No investment whatsoever from the G2 squadron. As JW backs himself off towards that mid side. G2 could be saving up for that double up setup, more than likely, considering that there is their tendency. Even in train, we saw that actually coming out on the T side, the more unlikely side for that to happen. Flusher picks up one with his SMG, is hoping to get another one on to body, but Olaf will be the one to finish things off. 9-9, the scoreline has been equalized. G2 Esports pushed against a wall, and they're picking up their pharmacies. They're not going for that double eco. They're not going for that double AWP. They decide that we can't let Fnatic get the lead. A team as fast-paced and as momentum-based as Fnatic cannot be allowed to get ahead on us. They're putting forward a much better of a fight than they did in train, that's for sure. But we'll have to wait to see. Apex scout someone out. Olaf will unfortunately not really be able to do too much right now. That Molotov over towards Sandbags will not force anyone out, but JW will force Apex out of this world. 4 versus 5 again at a disadvantage. G2 seems to be starting off this immediately at a disadvantage almost every single time. Fnatic are just winning these opening duels left, right and center, finding those early on pickups. CT side, we saw Olaf pushing forward aggressively with his AWP when they were running those double op strategies to be able to bring them back to 8-7. T side, we see JW repeatedly getting these early on kills, getting these early on entry frags before the 1 minute mark as well, and that makes so much of a difference. That means the CTs have to use their utility. They have to end up wasting everything, and that's what we see right now. G2, they've got a smoke which they throw out towards that A main side, but that's not where Fnatic are coming in from. They're going in towards B, where they have been flashed up. There's 2 players on the side, but it doesn't really matter. NBK brings down 1. Dennis is traded away immediately after killing Kenny S. But will it matter right now? Shox is able to get 1 onto Olaf. It's a 2 versus 3, but it's favoring Fnatic on the B side right now. At least if JW is able to get this 1 kill. NBK from this position has been doing so much work. He's been able to get 3 kills, and that is going to be all she wrote for the Fnatic squadron. But right now, again, they have the potential to be able to reset G2's economy. And with the AWP coming out onto JW, it is a distinct possibility that that will happen. JW has been playing a phenomenal round, even with just a rifle, but the AWP is really his comfort zone. A little bit low on the utility on the Fnatic squadron, so they will be relying on the aim to drag them through this. Flashbang in the hands of Apex as well. The M4 is waiting and ready. The peek comes in from body. Dennis throws out the smoke, and the flashbang from Apex will mean that they can push forward very easily. They find a few. Olaf will end up going down to the hands of Apex. Flush up with a flank though through highway. He takes down 2, but NBK, it's a flank to a flank, and he takes him down. Kenny S now 1v2. Dennis is down at 1 HP. That grenade could do massive damage and take him down. No, it doesn't quite do it. Dennis picks up the AWP, and that's a worse weapon he wants to see on the... this is going to be looking so difficult for G2 as they get reset again. Fnatic on a 10-10, and this time G2 have got no money to speak of whatsoever. They will go for a bit of a quasi buy, so it seems. Kenny just goes for the CZ to be able to afford up at AWP in a few rounds. Unfortunately, I don't actually think he'll have enough money to be able to pick that up in the next round. Only 1900 loss bonus. He needs to get a few kills over here. And Apex 5-7 in hand, can't quite get anything with that. Their Deagles are going to be looking to do some work though. They aren't quite out of this round just quite yet. Fnatic have got to be careful. They have got to be using those flashes incredibly well to be able to prevent any sort of Deagle shenanigans from going down. The bomb is still sitting, hovering around that middle area. Perhaps the boost to come through onto JW. JW has actually already been going forward very aggressively. Gets a shot down into Apex in the Z connector. Well done by him. He's been opening this up again in that mid side, and that just seems to be the name of the game for them. Shocks though with the deagle gets one onto Dennis. Body chimes in with a few shots onto Olaf, but Olaf is able to stay alive. Not for long though. No, he doesn't. He does stay alive. JW won't be able to stay alive for long. Kenny, with the smoke in hand, he's backing himself off, is a little bit afraid that, oh my goodness, Shocks, another monstrous shot coming through. Flusher from the backlines will be able to get one, brings down another very low as well, but Olaf now with only 26 HP is going to be going for the bomb plant, just going for the money play. And G2, they seem to have done the impossible right now. They look to be on the brink of taking it away from Olaf. But of course, this 2 versus 1, despite Olaf's low health, will not be all too easy. Kenny as well has not really got the best of health. Nice little boost coming in as NBK scouts over. Now Kenny is pushing through. He hears him. Olaf knows where he's coming from. He needs to turn around, but they're going for the defuse. They're going for the fake defuse rather. And he will be able to get one shot down onto that quad area. Kenny goes for the shoulder peek and is able to actually bring him down though. Very well played by the G2 esports fellas. The 10-10 scoreline, they're able to pick up a few AKs for themselves as well, and the money on Fnatic is not looking great right now. They can go for that doubled Tech 9 plus 2 AKs plus an AWP. That might be the case right now, but can't really say that it. Well, okay, they're able to get 3 AKs, but very limited amount of utility, and that was a bit of a problem in that previous round that they didn't really properly use their utility. Shocks glancing down highway, able to get 2 kills and get a third over towards the forklift side with that deagle is something that should absolutely never happen. JW will be boosted up once again with that AWP in his hands. Looks like he might be able to get a kill very soon with that. Has been consistently doing so as well. Apex will be the man to actually go up against him. JW actually peeks into him, and that's exactly what happened, exactly what's been happening every single round. That Fnatic has been able to win. Shocks now waiting for a few players to walk into his crosshair. Olaf as well, peeking into Body. Should be able to get the shot. Yes, he does. Brings down Body. 3 versus 5 for the side of G2. It's going to be a very difficult retake, but Shocks is making it look possible as he takes down Olaf. Though, another one comes in from him. Makes it a 2 versus 3. Kenny now in a 1-on-3 though. No AWP either, so you can't really expect a hero play. Beautiful flick comes out from JW. Make things possible for the Fnatic squad. It seems to be a boxing match with blows being traded one by one. Both teams just keep knocking them back and forth and back and forth. 11-11 the scoreline for G2 and Fnatic. What an absolutely devastating game for whoever will be losing this. And I know what everyone's thinking right now. All we want is a game 3 out of this right now, so I am rooting for G2. Deniso is making it hard to do that. He's getting these beautiful shots through, taking down NBK, along with the SMG from Flusher, making magic happen. Body and Apex, last 2 left standing. Body's able to take down Flusher. That is, of course, the SMG going down, but it's able to do some decent damage. Apex as well, down to 34. How much can you really do over here? He's backing himself off. The Farmers is looking to be saved, but with their money as threadbare as it is, even the Farmers can't really do too much to be able to help them out. They went for the force buy over here, despite having barely any money whatsoever. And this time, they will not be able to come to fruition. They will be forced to pay that price, and Apex brings down Crims with that AK being picked up as the trophy. Waiting for Dennis to push into his crosshair. We'll be able to get one more kill. Well played by Apex. Some decent damage being dealt. We have to keep in mind the economy for Fnatic is also looking very, very weak. They haven't really been able to pad up their banks just quite yet. They will be able to go for a buy, but that doesn't mean that they will be able to maintain their buy should they lose the next round. G2 are more likely than not going to be forcing up around that AK, but perhaps they decide that enough is enough. We can't actually let this keep happening to us, and they give up that 13th round to Fnatic. And if Fnatic are able to get away with this, if Fnatic are able to take the next one away, pardon me, then things will be looking very tricky for the side of G2. But right now, it looks like they might just be going to save up for that double AWP strategy. If they can actually pick up an AWP in this round and save it, that would be absolutely phenomenal. The grenade going out does some significant damage. JW is pushing through over towards the mid side. This time though, G2 have actually realized that was incoming. They've managed to back themselves off. They realize that we can't actually win a duel with JW on the mid side almost ever. And without the entry frag coming through, perhaps they'll have a little bit more of a chance. Unfortunately, no guns or armor will mean that Body can get brought down very quickly. Shoxer with a P2000 is able to get a quick shot onto a JW. Just when I said he can't actually lose a duel towards that mid side, he has to go and prove me wrong. Olaf brings down Body. Now 4 versus 3 with Shox in possession of an AK, but no body armor. Asha finds another one over towards that mid side. JW did bring him down very low, but Shox, unfortunately, without the armor, can't quite fire back. The aim punch being a bit too much. NBK holding headshot area now, looking to see if he can get a few kills in. If nothing else, he can actually do some decent damage towards the economy of Fnatic. Dennis, nice little no scope onto NBK. Olaf, surprisingly enough, is not wielding the AWP despite being low and despite being the regular secondary AWP for Fnatic. Kenny now with that AK saved up, he will be backing himself off. Will actually actually should be able to throw that one over towards a teammate and pick up an AWP for himself in that next round. So maybe we do actually see that double op setup coming through if Apex is willing to run the second one, that is. Well, they're getting 2400 this round. That means Shox. Well, okay, so the only person who can actually buy up an AWP besides Kenny will be Apex, and I doubt that he will be choosing to do so. Though the double op setup is going to be very unlikely that we see that coming through. So Fnatic, they have Kenny throw over the AK to Body. AWP comes out onto the hands of Kenny. Yes, and interestingly enough, they actually buy it on Apex, so Apex will not actually have any armor whatsoever. He has an AK in his hands, but no armor. I'm not quite sure what I think about this decision. Even Kenny could have actually bought up the AWP himself, if I'm not wrong. But instead, they buy up a few rifles for themselves. Oh no, they do have the double up actually coming through. So Kenny buys the AWP for himself, and Shox is able to get one as well because of that. Crim's now going forward, the flashbang going through, double op setup needs to prevail. One of them has already gone down. Apex gets a shot through onto Olaf Meister despite not having any armor. He's doing a great job with this so far. Body only has 16 HP, but he needs to go forward and give some resources, give some backup towards Apex to actually deal with. Now NBK in a 1 versus 2 brings down one with a backstab onto Flasher in that mid area. Flashbang going out, nicely done. He's going to be able to go forward. JW fully flashed through, but the counter flashes are going to be a bit too much. The smoke over towards that B side, towards that A side as well, will mean that it's very difficult for him to be able to do too much. JW gets a shot, and that will be Fnatic claiming their 14th round and putting G2 in a very uncomfortable situation where if they lose this one, and it will be likely considering the economic situation, Fnatic are on match point. Fnatic are on the verge of going to the winner bracket of the IEM Katowice, the European qualifiers. And Apex throwing out that smoke, backing himself off, does want to make sure that if nothing else, they have a shot at winning this one. They've been able to win with a lot less. They've been able to win with only pistols, and this time they do have the AWP on Shox. Surprisingly enough, Shox is actually carrying the AWP as Olaf opens things up onto Shox, immediately dropping that very same AWP we were talking about, not on Kenny. Yes, I'm not quite sure what I think about that, but Shox definitely can't be thinking anything about that as he gets taken down very quickly by Olaf. G2, they've got their work cut out for them even further as their biggest gun is taken away. Apex is able to retrieve it, but how effective is he going to be with that particular gun? Dennis, AK in hand, is pushing forward towards that checker side area where NBK is waiting for him. NBK will be able to get that flash through, almost actually gets 2 kills, beautifully done. That's a great flashbang coming in, and that does mean Fnatic are perhaps a little bit unprepared. They didn't really have anyone prepared to go ahead and dodge that flash. Now 2 versus 4. Kenny picks up another kill with that CZ, and he's able to pick up an UMP for himself as well. So the CZ, which was running out of bullets, will not really be a bit of a problem for him either. Now JW throws out that flashbang. NBK backs himself off immediately. He was actually the one who threw over that CZ to the hands of Kenny, so picks up an AK later on for his troubles. And a 14-11 Fnatic might be looking to save, and that's exactly what it looks like they're doing. But instead they're actually going over towards that A side. They will be able to get that bomb plant down if nothing else, and now it's a much better defensible position for them if JW actually gets behind this A main side where they are suspecting the flank from. Unfortunately though, Crims has actually planted in default. He has not planted for A main, goes for the jumping AK shot, will be able to spot one out towards highway, but unfortunately that won't be enough, as now they will be running in very one by one. Oh my goodness, JW with the collateral will be able to get a third as well. JW is going absolutely insane right now, and Crims in a 2 versus 1 right now. He will be able to find body if he goes up. Yes, he does. JW, they line up for him and they make things look easy. 15 to 11. G2 had everything going for them that round, but unfortunately they still can't pull through. They still can't capitalize. Fnatic in these clutch situations, they're just looking too damn good. Dennis with the knife out is still pushing forward. And what an absolute doozy coming out from Fnatic as well. An interesting boost coming in. I'm not quite sure what I think about that, but regardless, Apex is actually maybe looking to get a little bit aggressive. Flusher will be trading a few hits right now. Body is waiting for someone to come through. He's got that farmer set ready. The flashbang, the smoke actually goes through. The flashbang will allow Flusher to push in and actually gets a shot through the smoke regardless of whether or not he is moving. Apex almost getting a few wallbang shots through. Sees where the Tracer is coming from, decides it's not worth it to reveal his own positioning. Incendiary will be thrown out potentially to be able to stop any further pushes coming out from Fnatic. Flasha is down to 14 HP. Nice little wallbang shots coming through. Surprisingly enough, Apex doesn't actually take any damage. Perhaps he was behind that secondary wall as well. 11 to 15. G2 Esports have got their back against the wall. Fnatic are on match point. They already have that 1-0 lead from Train, and they might be able to seal the deal right now with a quick 2-0. Flasha is the man with the AWP now. He was thrown that over from his teammates. Now they're clustered around that A main area. What can Apex do? He is the main person to be able to try and save this round for the G2 side. Crims might be pushing forward. That I know what that pause means. Crims will be pushing forward in towards that Apex angle. Apex will not be able to get that shot. Yes, he does actually. Brings him down, but unfortunately that does mean that Fnatic are a little bit more hesitant now. Going forward, Dennis checking the boost area, checking every single angle that they can potentially think of, and at the end of the day, it just won't be enough. He's not able to get the shot through. Apex, with a heroic effort, makes it possible for Kenny to be able to come back onto the side, get a few kills for himself as well, picks up the AWP at the end of it, and NBK trades that out with Kenny S. G2, 12 to 15, now suddenly their odds are looking up. Fnatic's money is somewhat weak. They will be able to go for a full buy, but right now, if G2 can actually break them, that would allow them to be able to go for that equalizer, go for that tiebreaker. The utility as limited as it is on Fnatic right now, this is their best shot at coming back into the game. Admittedly, G2 doesn't have too much of it either though. Farmers in hands of Apex. And immediately though, Crims open things up on towards body. Kenny gets two beautiful shots, but JW is coming in from the backline. He's got the shot onto Kenny. No, onto Apex rather. Apex will not go down. The second shot coming through the door will be able to bring him down. Oh my goodness, Kenny has soon to follow. JW making it look easy, and now Shocks and NBK, it's all up to them. NBK walking up from that highway side. Shocks is already there behind Toxic Barrels. He throws out that flashbang, will be moving forward, can't really catch out anyone, will end up going down, leaves it up to NBK with his M4 Arsimov, but will that be enough for him? 15 to 12 Fnatic. In a 3 versus 1, they will be able to take the game. And G2 just can't triumph the Fnatic squadron. They prove to be superior and they're able to sneak away a hard-fought victory. Very well played by them, and we will be